Good morning, guys. So this is going to be a day in the life of a lender in Sydney. It is currently 9:21 a.m. I am so tired right now. I slept pretty late. It is Monday morning and I'm going to be filming my whole day, working and showing you guys what I actually do in my role and what my role entails, and taking you through some things that I do and some thoughts that I have about the role as well, and some interesting things and so on and so forth. The last time I made one of these was a couple of years ago when I was working as a banker. Now I'm working as a lender in Private Bank, which is a specialized division of the bank that I work at, which services high net worth individuals. So we're talking about the top 1%, the top 10% of Australians that have incredible wealth. So we're talking about celebrities, CEOs, entrepreneurs, investors. These are people that have their wealth not only in Australia but internationally as well. They're earning income sources which are very diversified internationally as well as Australia. So you get to meet a lot of influential and interesting customers, and my job is to assist them with their complex lending inquiries. So my job is to help them from start to finish, and I take ownership of the entire lending process and help the customers out and whatnot. So it is a pretty interesting role. I've spoken with a lot of interesting customers and it keeps you challenging. There's always something complex and interesting to work on. So yeah.
One eternity later.
So it is currently 9:24 on Monday 24th, and what this means is in 6 minutes I'm gonna have a meeting which we all join in. It is a presentation meeting from our markets team who do investment research at the firm. Their job is basically to scan the market and look at what's happening in the overall market in Australia as well as internationally, and give us some insight as to what is happening, so then we can go back to our clients and have those meaningful conversations. Now for me personally, because I work in lending, it doesn't really apply to me too much, but I love the markets quite a lot myself. This whole channel is about investing in ETFs, so I join these meetings to understand what's happening in case the customers ask and in case they want to know about what are some of the new data points that have come out and what they can do to position themselves in the best way possible. Oh my god, I've got bed hair. No joke, I literally just got out of bed about like 10 minutes ago to make this video. Monday mornings are just not it. Like they're so bad. Every single Monday they're so bad. I wake up a bit late and I sleep late as well, and you can probably see by my eyes and stuff, it's not good. But luckily these meetings are cameras off, at least for me anyway, so I'm not going to be showing my face or anything. I'll just be sitting in the background just listening and taking it all in and going from there. Alright, so let's join the meeting and start lurking.
Alright, I think we might get started. We've got over 100 people on the line, so over to you.
Alright guys, so that was a pretty interesting meeting. There's a lot of talk around the ASX, the bond market, as well as the US market and where that's sort of heading. There was a bit of talk around the news as well. Obviously, as you guys might know, well, you would have heard anyways, Trump and Elon Musk and everything like that. All of that is a bit up in the air at the moment, and it's causing a lot of uncertainty, especially with the whole tariff side of things. I'm just gonna leave it here. But yeah, so it's interesting because the team talks about the news as well as the markets, and then they give us a few conversation starters that we can use with our clients to start off the conversation, and then eventually convince clients to look at some of the funds that we have on offer that can help them to complement their approach in their overall investing. So that was the end of that. Now that the meeting's over, what I'm going to do is going to go through the rest of my emails. A lot of the emails that have come through over the weekend, there's been 19 emails. About 80% of them I don't need to do anything, which is absolutely great because you know, I really don't want to do all that on Monday morning, but only about 2 or 3 emails were from customers, which is great. So what I also like to do is I've subscribed to a few newsletters, and again, this just helps me to keep up to date with what's happening in the market and the news that's happening. I like to keep informed. So one newsletter that I absolutely recommend, this is not a sponsorship, but it is Morning Brew. And this one is pretty good because you can read what's happening around the market. They give you a summary of everything that's happening. They give you a market snapshot as well as some news that's happening. And all this takes around 5 minutes to read, which is great because in the mornings I don't have a lot of time to look at actual news articles. So this gives you a quick, digestible way to understand what's happening. Highly recommend.
2,000 years later.
Alright guys, so the next order of business is for me to do some work on some applications. Before I do that, I'm going to be replying to a customer whose loan settled Friday night. He's got a couple of questions around something, so I'm going to be clarifying that. Then afterwards, I'll be working on a loan application for a financial advisor. Now, the thing with customers and loans in this segment is the fact that they have got lots of entities and lots of structures. What I mean by that is they've got multiple companies, multiple trusts, and there could be one main company that's making the money, but then money from that company is going to a trust, then it's going to another entity, then it's going to another trust, and it's all being sort of filtered through these various structures. And if you look at the actual customer's individual tax returns, you don't actually see that much income. And it's interesting because that's done very purposefully, because the income tax rate, the highest marginal tax rate, is almost half, whereas the company tax rate, the corporate tax rate, is about 25% for medium businesses. So you can save a lot of money, and that's why these people do these types of structures. But my job is to look into all of these companies, to see the money flowing in from one company to another, and looking at all of that, assessing it, and making sure that the customer has got enough company in their income in their companies to service the debt. Because that's the main thing. My job is to really find solutions for these customers and analyze everything and go from there. So I'll be doing that and going from there. Currently it's about 10:30. I estimate this will take me around maybe an hour or 2 hours, and I'll see you guys back at around 12. Alright guys, it is now almost 12 p.m. and I've been working on the deal with that financial advisor, and in about an hour we have a meeting scheduled to discuss this deal with myself, my manager, a few other people that are involved in this deal as well. There's been a bit of back and forth. I'm not going to go into it too much because it's more so just we're just trying to find a solution for this customer, and we want to make sure that we get it right. So that's what happens. I mean, this meeting wasn't even in my calendar about 10 minutes ago, and this is what happens in the role. Sometimes things can just come up and you've just got to adapt. So what I'll be doing is I'll be planning for this meeting. I'm just going through the financials now as well, going through the tax returns and making sure that all the figures and all the inputs are correct, to make sure that we are having a productive discussion with all of us that are involved. After the meeting, I am going to take a quick break. These days I am fasting because of Ramadan, so I'm not going to be having a lunch break. So I'm just going to be taking a normal break. I'll go take a shower, just go on my phone for a bit, scroll some reels, scroll some TikToks, and go from there. And then once I come back, I'm going to prepare for the team meeting that I've got at 3:30, and I'll tell you guys about that a bit later. So that meeting is set to happen in about half an hour, and I've got a bit of spare time now to work on a different deal for another customer. And this customer is very interesting, to say the least. I'm not going to go into too much of the specifics of what he does, but if I was to look at all of his assets that he's got and what he's declared, and not even talk about what he hasn't declared, but the things that we know of, his net worth is going to be conservatively at least 150 mil, which is absolutely insane, the amount of money that is out there. And with him, of course, things are quite complex. So using his income that he's getting from overseas, which isn't consistent, so we need to look at the verification of that stuff to make sure that we can use it for loan servicing, because our loan is going to be for 30 years and we need to make sure that that income is going to be consistent for the next 30 years. So I've done a couple discussions with the customer. We've had a meeting as well. I've had a meeting with our risk team as well, and have had a lot of meetings to get this deal to somewhat of a position where we can consider it. So now what I'm doing is I'm going to be writing up the actual submission to credit, which is our risk team, so they can look at it, they can assess it, and hopefully they can approve the loan. So I'm going to be typing away for the next 25 minutes or so, and yeah, I will be working while you guys can watch, and we can go from there. I really wish I could talk and type as well, because I feel like it would make for a much more engaging experience with this video. But unfortunately, I cannot do that because I'm not very good at multitasking, because I'd love to talk you guys through what exactly I'm doing without sort of going through specifics, and just talk about, just certain things in the role which are so interesting, which are so different to what I've done in previous roles. And coming into this job, I thought that it couldn't be that hard, given that I'm only doing home loans. However, just because they're home loans doesn't mean that it's easy. What I knew was easy, which is why I thought home loans are going to be easy, right? Because my experience prior with home loans has just been, it's not too difficult. But when you're dealing with clients such as this, with this caliber, it really tests you, and it really makes you learn a lot, I think. And these are skills which I can take with me to basically for life. Like, I've got these skills now. So if I was to go work at a different bank, if I was to go and become a broker, given that I know how to deal with these types of customers, given that I know how to deal with these types of scenarios, and I know what questions to ask, I know what risks to think about and what documents to collect to mitigate the said risk, I think it makes just makes me a well-rounded person, when it comes to these types of roles. So I think it's very interesting. One thing I've got to say in dealing with this customer is the fact that he didn't get to his insane net worth by making coffee at home, right? I know that in the personal finance community, this is a big thing. People talk about, you can save $5 a day. If you save that much and then you invested that much money into the stock market, you could have had $100,000 by the time you're 85, right? Like, they talk about this a lot, and he didn't get here by saving money on coffee, by investing the little $5 difference. The way that you get insanely rich is by owning a piece of the pie, which is owning equity in a business that grows, right? And as a normal person, you can do that by investing into ETFs, by investing into a business, and really owning a piece of something that is going to grow. That is the only way that the average person, outside of inheritance, is going to make it in this world. I truly believe that. You're not going to get there by skimping out on $5 here and there. You really need to look at the big picture, look at increasing your income so you have more capital available, so then you can invest the difference. But of course, that is if you want to get insanely rich. I'm sure you can still do it in other ways too, but I have just rejected the idea of the whole $5 on coffee. Like, the absolute pleasure that I get going into the office, getting a coffee cup that is like as big as my head, drinking that, and it just makes me feel alive. I just love the coffee. It just fuels me up. And because of the fasting, I can't have coffee these days, so it's a bit of a pain, but whatever, it is what it is. The saving coffees thing is not going to get you there. It is my belief that you've got to increase your income and go from there. The income is the biggest lever that you can pull to really accelerate your financial journey.
A few moments later.
All right, guys, so I've taken my shower and I'm back to work. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I had a one-on-one with my manager, and we were just talking about doing things to be more efficient at work and what some of the things we can do to make ourselves more time efficient. And what I mentioned to him was the fact that I've been using AI at work to make things, a lot more efficient, make things quicker. And he was quite happy to see that. He was like, okay, great. He said that, well, the focus is on AI in the bank, and it's part of trying to find out new ways of working. So out of, on just a whim, I said to my manager, you know what, I would be keen to show the team how to use AI. And genuinely, I'm quite excited about this because I think AI is going to just make things a lot more streamlined, and I think it's going to impact the entire bank at some point. So you may as well get used to it now, get used to how it works. So when it does get implemented in the entire bank, you can be at the forefront of it, and it's just going to be much better. Now, I will say, of course, the fact that you can use AI, but you cannot put in customer information into the AI systems and then use that. You've got to make sure that any customer identifiable information is wiped out. So obviously I am following that. I haven't been putting in customer information to some AI device that's offshore, and it's, but whatever. So we're not doing anything like that. It's more so just to find efficiencies in the work. So the meeting is in 30 minutes, and I have been organizing some examples that I can show the team as to how we can use AI to really save us time. So I'm going to be doing that for the next half an hour. Low key, I am slightly nervous with this presentation. It is not a strong point. I'm not really good at presenting things, but it is time to change that. It is time to get outside of your comfort zone, my comfort zone, phone, and I'm going to be really, trying to do a good job here. I've got some really good examples that I think the team can really benefit from. So now it's just about presenting that in a useful way, in an engaging way, and hopefully it works out all right. So here we go, time to practice. Man, as I'm doing this right now, I'm trying to find out the examples of what I'm going to teach the team, and it's literally giving a smile on my face because of how many efficiencies can be unlocked. I know I've said the word efficiencies like 10 times already, but guys, AI is coming for us all. You may as well get comfortable with it, and you may as well start using it now so you can be better than the rest of your team. Alright, so we are literally 5 minutes out from the meeting, and what I'm going to do to really make myself feel a bit more confident is I'm going to utilize this standing desk and actually stand up and speak with authority, speak with confidence. I often find that once I'm standing up and actually having a conversation, I don't know what it is, maybe it's physiological, maybe it's psychological, I don't know what it is, but I just feel a lot better. And I feel like I can convey my points really well, and I'm just hoping that this translates into the actual training as well. So I'm just gonna fix this up right here. Don't mean to flex, but this is an absolute godsend. So we'll wait for this to get up, and I'm now gonna have the conversation. I'm just gonna like prep it out for the next couple minutes and go from there, see how we go with this meeting. I think that I'm going to add a lot of value. I think it's going to be good. I think that the people are going to see things which they weren't sure that AI could do, and I think I can add a lot of value. So I'm going to stand up, I'm going to breathe, I'm going to make this the best presentation that I've done in this role. That's a big claim, but I have been prepping for it, and let's see how it goes.
Online banking reinstate?
Yep. Have you Fyzee?
Yeah, awesome. Yes, I just want to say. Guess who nailed his presentation? Oh man, all right. That actually went really, really well. If I was to give it a score, I'd say it was about 8 out of 10, which compared to other similar things I've done, it's been around the sort of 6.5 out of 10. So 8 out of 10 is really, really good. I'm really glad with the examples that I talked about. It was all according to plan, mostly according to plan. And afterwards, the team said some really nice things as well. Let me read you out some testimonies. So somebody said it's a well-structured presentation. It's the first time they've seen that. Someone said it's a great presentation. Someone else said they had no idea ChatGPT could do so many things, and people were throwing up emojis and emotes in the meeting. So that actually went really, really well. I'm glad. And now I'm just feeling extremely relieved. You know the feeling that you get once you've just gone through some crap? Once you've like gone through a really crazy roller coaster, and the aftermath of it, your body and your heart is just sort of calming down, and that adrenaline is just subsiding. That's how I feel right now. I feel extremely relieved, and yeah, this is really good. So now it is 4:34. I'm gonna wrap up in about sort of 45 minutes. Going to do some other work to make sure I'm set up for tomorrow. I'm going to, at the very end, I'm going to set up a to-do list of everything that I need to start off with tomorrow on a Tuesday to make sure that once I start work, I know exactly what I need to do. It is about 5:25 at the moment, and I am done with work. There is, of course, more that I can do right now, as is, with jobs like this, you can always keep working past you can keep working till whenever really. But I'm gonna make the decision to knock off now. I've done a reasonable amount of work that when I start work tomorrow, I'm gonna be in a good position, and I've made some good headway into working for the deal that I told you guys about early on with a client that is worth over $100 million. So that deal is the one that's been taking a lot of time in working it out, but there is progress that I've made, and I'll be looking to submit that deal hopefully tomorrow or Wednesday at the latest, and we will go from there. But anyways, that is the workday. Hopefully you guys found some value in seeing what a lender does in private bank. As you can see, the deals that we work on are quite complex. I just wish I could go into more detail, but I can't. But hopefully that gave you guys some value, and hopefully it was entertaining. And if you guys want, I will make more videos like this. So thank you so much for watching. If you stuck around till the end, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye now.